Tessier City and County Buildings, Council Chambers, located at 1 Tacoma Drive, or watch live on Channel 8 and through live streaming on Broomfield's website. The public may also participate in public comment either in person or by calling 855-695-3744 and pressing *3 to be placed in the queue for comment. Please note that if you're calling in for public comment and would like to speak on more than one agenda item for tonight's meeting, you'll need to press *3 each time to be placed back in the queue for comment. Public comment will be limited to 90 minutes total per item. The first 1 through 15 participants have 3 minutes to speak. The next 16 through 25 participants have 2 minutes to speak. And if time remains, the next 26 plus participants in the queue have 1.5 minutes to speak. Again, if joining virtually for public comment, the number is 855-695-3744 and press *3 to be placed in the queue. Screeners will ask callers for their first and last name, neighborhood, and the agenda item the caller would like to comment on. Please call several minutes before the agenda item and press *3 to ensure you're in the queue for comments. If joining in person, please line up behind the podium and state your name and neighborhood for the record. We would also like to notify the public that following the swearing-in ceremony of the newly elected council members, we will take a recess for a celebratory reception and will reconvene following. The city council meeting is called to order. Will the clerk please call the roll? Anderson. Here. Cohen.
Here.
Groom. Here. Hinkle. Here. Jezierski.
Here.
Law Evans.
Once more here.
Lim. Here. Lindsted.
Here.
Chef.
Here.
Tessier.
Last time here.
A quorum is present. Will everyone please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we continue with tonight's agenda, I would like to ask Mayor Pro Tem Jezierski to chair the next portion of the meeting. Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mayor. It is an honor and a privilege tonight to be able to chair this portion of the meeting. How's everybody doing tonight? Good. I'd like to start by thanking everyone for being here with us this evening. Before we begin with the swearing-in ceremony and invocation of our newly elected officials, it is appropriate that we take a moment to acknowledge and honor the contributions and dedication of council members Groom, Law Evans, and Tessier. These council members have been active, committed public servants who have unselfishly served Broomfield throughout their term in office. We will take a moment to honor each one individually. When your name is called, please move to the podium. Following your remarks, we ask that you sit in the audience until the reception. And with that, we will start with Councilmember Groom. Kim, will you please join us at the podium? So Councilmember Groom was elected in November of 2017 and has made a large impact on the Broomfield community over the past 4 years. Kim, we invite you to make any final remarks or comments.
Well, give me a microphone and I shall talk. So bear with me as I get through my last final speech here. It's been an honor to serve. Should I be worried about the, there we go. Okay, but 4 years, wow, time flies when you're having fun, and I really don't mean that as a cliche. It's been an honor, it's been a challenge, it's been amazing to serve this community that I love. It seems like yesterday I sat here with deer in the headlights look and know where to start and what to learn first, and I had a lot of help from previous and current council members. Councilmember Law Evans, Councilmember and Mayor Pro Tem Betty Erickson, Councilmember Martha Durda really stood up, made sure they took me on walks and taught me and guided me through. Staff is one to be thoughtful and thanked. Staff has an insurmountable task every 2 years, which is educating new council members on this amazing community. And they had their work cut out with me, especially the IT department. So, I have great respect and appreciation for Broomfield staff and employees. They are true stewards of this community. Great communities do not just happen, they are planned, and Broomfield's greatness is their employees. I have been asked to speak about my accomplishments as a council member, yet any and all of my council member accomplishments is based off of staff and employee input, knowledge, and insight. There is no such thing as one council member taking credit for any one accomplishment. It also takes a community. I want to wholeheartedly thank the community members who spent their personal time to provide comments and ensure balance in my decision-making by providing different and similar viewpoints. I want to tell you all a story, so bear with me, about my very first public speech. It was when I was on what I called the 2017 campaign trail. I was presenting up in Anthem Ranch. And like right now, I was very nervous. But I had given several professional speeches in my career, and I thought the nerves would dissipate. However, Mayor Ahrens presented first, and by the time he was done, I was literally shaking. And I'm not kidding, it was a whole body shake. I sat there praying that he would go over and they would run out of time for my presentation. But unfortunately, he ended on time, but I did have a thought of never coming back. I'm not sure how my legs carried me to the podium, but they did. As I looked out over the crowd and I started my speech, I didn't even get past the first line, which was supposed to be, "Hello, my name is Kimberly Groom and I'm running for city council." Instead, I said, "Hello, my name is Kimberly Groom." Thank goodness I got that right. And I'm running for student council. So I was able to pull it off as a joke. And I'm not, the people in the crowd were very endearing to me and they allowed me to make it a joke. But I am thankful for Mayor Ahrens for not hearing my prayer and ending his speech on time, as I might not be standing here today with the wonderful 4 years I just spent representing you all. Happens to me all the time. Don't worry about it. Although council, my time on council has been cut short with a loss, I am proud to have supported this community over the last 4 years and 3 election campaigns. One thing certain, I am honored to be a champion of this community, as I have been before council and I will be moving forward. Many people have asked me, and it's only been a couple weeks, what am I going to do next? Frankly, it's a little too early to make solid plans. However, I know one thing's for certain, I will stay involved. The next thing is I'm going to Mexico next week. Giving back to this community. Well, I might skip that line. Giving back to this community is essential for everyone, and I'm dedicated to Broomfield for life. In our society, we mostly learn by watching what other people do. I want to express how many friends, families, and community members have shaped my life. It sounded really good when I was in front of the mirror. Sorry. Starting with my grandmother, Rioma. Starting with my grandmother, Rioma, who would give her shirt off her back to anyone in need and provided a sense of security to her small community. My aunt and uncle, Ben and Catherine Vager, who are dedicated to this community by giving and by doing. A special thanks to my parents. We're sitting here. Who installed in me the fight that I have that has led me to be the accomplished person I am today. My parents, my aunts and uncles all came from poverty and endured the journey, all with its struggles of hard work and dedication to provide for their families. Thankfully, I have not seen those types of struggles. Nonetheless, I grew up watching them put themselves out there and go for it. Many Broomfield communities members have done the same, and I've learned in order to grow, I must put myself in the arena. There is a quote by Teddy Roosevelt that I've lived by for many years, and it's actually hung in my office for over 20 years. And I'll read it to you because I live by it. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out the strong man's struggles, or where the doer of deeds have done or could do better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena. Those whose face is marred with dust, sweat, and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error. The one who actually strives to do the deeds knows great enthusiasms and great devotions, who at the best knows in the end of triumph the high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails doing greatly. So that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither will know victory nor defeat. Teddy Roosevelt, amazing person. I want to say I wish this council and the new council members that are here tonight the very best for putting themselves in the arena for this community. It's a difficult job. To be an elected official is a community of itself, and I'm honored to be part of that group. In writing this speech, I struggled how to end this chapter, this moment, this journey. So I will just say this. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Those are great comments. So does any member of council have any comments for Councilmember Groom? Councilmember Lyons.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Kim, it's been an honor and privilege to serve next to you on this council. And I'm so glad that you read the quote by Teddy Roosevelt. That's what I live by as well. And no one would ever accuse you of not putting yourself out there. So thank you for your compassion, your caring for this community that we both love so much. Thank you for being there when you call, when you need it. So it's been an honor and privilege, and we'll have to keep walking together. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Lyons. Councilmember Henkel.
Thank you, Councilmember Groom. You have been a wonderful seatmate and here next to me. We've had lots of giggles about how our chairs go up and down because we're so short. And I just really, beyond that, it's been wonderful to serve next to you. And more times than not, we vote a lot alike. We vote for development and we're pro-business. And I want you to know that we're here still listening to your voice. And so still stay in contact, still, give your input. I have always valued it. And I've always valued your service, not only to your board, but to Broomfield in general. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Henkel. Councilmember Tessier.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Kim, what a journey. I remember meeting up with you when You got elected for the first time. I got reelected. We met over at up on 287 in Miramonte and had a good dinner and discussion about, how are we gonna just make Broomfield, even better. And it's kind of a wild ride, and I just appreciate all of your questions, all of your thoughts. You are a strong, powerful, beautiful woman, and thank you for your service and for being the voice to many in your community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Tessier. Any other comments? Go ahead. Councilmember Anderson.
So I did raise my hand. It's just I want to share that had a good couple of years up here serving next to Kim. He's going to be a Councilmember Groom. It's going to be different now, but as we've done a lot together and reaching out to the community and really trying to represent Ward 4 well. So thank you for all the time and everything that you've taught me, and I wish you luck in whatever you do next. And I know you'll be around, and we'll see you around. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Anderson. Councilmember Schaaf.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So in 2017, we were elected together, or I should say we were elected at the same time. And one of the first things is we had our orientation, and a big part of that is we sat upstairs in the conference room, and we that wide-eyed was definitely there. We couldn't believe what just happened and what we were getting into. And one of the clearest memories that I have is going on this water tour. And I just went on this water tour again because I love this trip. It is the most spectacular system that we have, in terms of infrastructure here in Broomfield. And on this trip, it provided us the opportunity to get to know each other and to connect and to be able to talk about all these different types of issues that we have. So I appreciate that time. That will always be a memory that I have of you. And thank you for your service to Broomfield.
Thank you, Councilmember Schaaf. Any additional comments? Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. And I too started this journey with you 4 years ago, and we had no idea how much we signed up for. And I just want you to know that your thoughtfulness and your dedication to the residents has been an inspiration. And I hope you stay involved, because I still want to have dirty try with you, and I still want to hear from you, because I really am so grateful for your service. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Any additional comments? Well, yes, Ken, thank you for your service over the past 4 years. I say that I've always admired your willingness to take a contrarian position on issues and stand strongly for your beliefs. Your comments have always added to and furthered the tough conversations that we've had over the past 4 years. They've always given me good food for thought. So thank you again for your service to Broomfield. As a token of our appreciation, and on behalf of the residents of the city and county of Broomfield, we have a gift for you.
Thank you. Oh, excellent. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Again, we're incredibly grateful for your service, so thank you again. Next, we will recognize Councilmember Elizabeth Law Evans. Liz, will you please join us at the podium? Councilmember Law Evans was elected in November 2013. Although the term limits required that Councilmember Law Evans retire from her position after 8 years of service, her impact on the community has been incredible. Liz, we invite you to make any final remarks or comments.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I appreciate the opportunity to speak as a council member one last time. I'd like to start by addressing the incoming and continuing council members and mayor. 10 years ago, actually not long before he died, council member and former mayor Walt Spader finished his second term as a council member. Walt was a forceful man, if you remember him. Yeah, exactly. But he understood that process, not the individual, was most important. He read this poem, which Greg Stokes then read, when he came on council years later. And the poem is titled Indispensable Man. And I'm looking at the incoming council members and continuing council members as well. This made a huge impact on me. Sometime when you're feeling important, sometime when your ego's in bloom, sometime when you take it for granted that you're the best qualified in the room, sometime when you feel that your going would leave an unfillable hole, just follow these simple instructions and see how they humble your soul. Take a bucket and fill it with water. Put your hand in it up to the wrist. Pull it out, and the hole that's remaining is a measure of how much you'll be missed. You can splash all you wish when you enter. You may stir up the water galore, but you'll stop and you'll find that in no time it looks quite the same as before. The moral of this quaint example is just do the best that you can. Be proud of yourself, but remember, there's no indispensable man. None of us have ever been or will ever be indispensable. I want to take a little bit of a different tack than Councilmember Groom did. During my time on council, I believe that there were 4 milestone projects that I'm very proud to have been a part of. And I want to bring those to mind tonight. First of all, rebuilding the Broomfield Community Center for another generation to enjoy. There was a story going around before we started that project. Don Rutjaiban told me that every morning the early morning lifeguards would go in and open the door to the pool very gently because there were so many leaks. We were afraid that there wasn't going to be any water left. So I'm glad that we did that. It's an elegant, simple design that was on time and under budget. And after this meeting, my husband and I are headed over to go buy a senior family pass. Number 2, getting the Chimney Hollow Windy Gap Firming Project financed and to construction. That's a capstone to a water plan that was put in place. I'm thinking about 30 years ago it was designed. 31 with Charles and George and Kevin and David. And it's an amazing project. And so for generations of Broomfield residents, you won't ever have to wonder when you turn on the tap that water's going to come out. Clean, drinkable water is going to come out abundant, relatively cheap, because this water plan has been put in place and implemented. Incredible project. So number 3, and this may not be popular with this particular crowd, but negotiating and signing the operator agreement with extraction. Closed loop system, which has the feature of eliminating tanks and open air transfers, reduction in the total number of wells with fewer fixed well pads, BMPs and CDP guardrails for the operations, even when we didn't anticipate all the potential negative consequences. My good friend, Councilmember Tessier, recently noted that with regards to oil and gas, it's been 8 years of bad versus worse choices. We had few rights statutorily at the time to regulate oil and gas. We had no leverage, and the situation was grim. And I know that Pat Gilbert is one of those who worked on the negotiations, and I want to recognize her. It was an incredible, we had no leverage, and yet we negotiated up to a point where the protections that are in place today, not a perfect document, but it's so much better than it was then. And I'm very, very proud of what we accomplished. Was it popular? But it's much better than where we would have been. The 4th and last project that I want to call out is the reimagination, revitalization, and recommitment of our police department under Chief Craven. In today's political climate, it's all too easy to see some law enforcement people in some other place acting badly and assume that our people are the same. I'm going to tell you, they are not. Our police department is made up of stalwart, noble, smart women and men who undergo extensive training, retraining, certification, and practice to become the best in the business. I am so proud of all of them. School districts are insane to insist that SROs lead their schools, but that's another topic for another day. I have a habit, as I've said many times to the police officers that I am, of praying for our police officers and first responders every day when I'm out walking or out running errands, when I see the first patrol car of the day. And so as my last act as council member, I'd like to adapt that prayer for all of our city people. especially our new incoming and continuing city leaders. So if you're so inclined, would you pray with me? Father God, tonight I ask your blessing on our police officers, our city employees, and all those who work in Broomfield on behalf of your people. I especially ask your blessing on our city leadership during this transition. May they all serve and be served with honor, dignity, compassion, integrity, intelligence, discernment, wisdom, humor, strength, grace, truth, and love. And at the end of their work, may they go home to their loved ones mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually healthy. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz, for those comments. Does any council member have any parting comments for Councilmember Law Evans? Councilmember Chef.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So one of the first one of the first ways I got to know Liz was we were both appointed to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. And Liz had told me this is the coolest committee that you will be part of. And for 2 years, we got to serve together, and for sure it was one of the coolest committees, but it was great to get to know you in that, during that time in our committee. One of the things that I admire about you is your commitment to biking here in Broomfield. It is one of the things that brings me joy every time I see you either come to a committee meeting or out and about or come to a council meeting on your bike. It's just one of those things that I truly appreciate about you. And lastly, we had a walk recently, and one of the things that we did was we walked past the water towers where your mother's bench is. And I will always think of you every time I pass that park and pass your mother's bench. So thank you for your service to Broomfield, and I'm sure I'll see you very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Tessier.
Thank you, Mayor Tim. What a journey, Councilmember Law Evans to Liz. I appreciate you so much. We've not only, we may disagree, but we do so respectfully, with love, with care and respect. You have created such a space to allow for all different scenarios and questions to come through. I appreciate your willingness to put people before politics. I appreciate you as a human, and I look forward to our future walks together with our crazy dogs. And I can't thank you enough for your service, for being on the Housing Advisory Committee with me, for your just diligence and respectful thoughtfulness around everything that you do. So I'm excited to call you a friend and to meet up with you after council term is done. So thank you very much, Liz.
Thank you. Councilmember Lindsay.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. On the drive over here, I was actually trying to remember when I first met Councilmember Law Evans. I'm pretty sure it was in second grade when she was my classroom volunteer. It's been an incredible honor to sit up here, and when you're on the city council, the people that you sit next to, you develop kind of a special bond with. And much like in second grade, you taught me a lot. You challenged a lot of my ideas in a really constructive and thoughtful way. And these last 2 years with you have been really invaluable. So I appreciate your service, and I know your service to this community is not done. Maybe it is up here, but it's not done, because I know you've made an impact on so many people's lives, and including mine when I was a second grader. So I wish you the very best, and I wish you and your incredible family the best moving forward. So it's been a complete honor and privilege to serve with you. So thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Castriano.
Thank you. Liz, I don't think I've ever met anyone more committed to this community. And you may not have known it, but you taught me so much. I listened to everything you said in your pragmatic way of breaking things down and the way that you see things. And I really did learn a lot by watching you. And I hope to serve in the same way. I really am grateful for the time I got to spend with you. And you took us through some really hard times. I will give you that. And, you came out on the other side, but you always maintained your composure. You always treated everyone with respect, and your service to this community is unmatched. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Any additional comments? Well, Liz, I do want to thank you for your service too over the past 8 years. Time flies by. I was thinking earlier today, I can't believe it's been 8 years since we were opponents in a city council election. I think it's safe to say that I think our relationships has grown a lot since that time, and I mean that in a positive way. And I've always admired, as you heard, your commitment to Broomfield, as well as your ability to tell a story. Sometimes maybe a little bit too long. You've definitely worked on that, I think, over the years. So your thoughtful comments and unique point of view will be missed on this council. So thank you again. As a token of our appreciation, and on behalf of the residents of the city and county of Broomfield, we also have a gift for you.
I get the car. Is that
Thank you.
We appreciate your commitment once again. Thank you. Liz. Finally, we will recognize Councilmember Sharon Tessier. Sharon, will you please join us at the podium? So Councilmember Tessier was also elected in November 2013. Although term limits require that Councilmember Tessier retire from her position after 8 years of service, her energy and commitment to this community are remarkable. Sharon, we invite you to make any final comments or remarks. The floor is yours.
Okay. I've been here for 2 terms. I tried to cut it down and I just can't, because it's with a big smile on my face and whopping tears in my eyes that I stand here before you. I've written some of my reflections of the time on council, and I'd like to say a few parting words. I promise I'll make it as quick as possible, but these are my 10 parting lessons learned and offerings to this council. Thank you for partnering with me, for answering the phone when I called, and for calling me and working with me and trusting me to work with you. Ours is often a thankless job that is wrought with strong emotions from every side of the aisle. Blame and shame to do the right thing when the right thing is often a little different for everyone involved. Council has and will continue to be targets of many people's frustration. And please keep in mind that these frustrations are a beautiful reminder of opportunities with positive outcomes. This is truly a labor of love, commitment, and dedication. Thank you for your service and dedication to Broomfield. I can say without a doubt that you have all given your best and care about this city and county very much. You have all done great things and will continue to do so. You see the humanity. Please continue to recognize. 9. My time on council has clearly showed me that every age has its wisdom. For our itty bitties, to our tweens, teens, and youth, as well as our young adults, middle adults, and seniors. Please save a spot for them at the table. Special shout out and a huge thank you to our senior services team, as well as our communities that care and positive youth development teams that were created to advance place to ensure that all voices matter. 8. One of the most important lessons that I walk away is the bounty of building relationships and putting people before politics. In my humblest of opinions, that is and will continue to be the only way that this community will continue to remain strong. Finding middle and common ground creates a place that is safe for all voices to be taken into consideration, which is crucial to policy making. Broomfield is a beautiful, smart, strong, dedicated community that is capable of great things. We are all Broomfield strong together. Number 7, I've learned that when we have flawed systems, it becomes tempting to blame the people instead of the system. It's a seductive route that I hope you can avoid. Please use caution and avoid blaming the people and continue questioning and providing solutions to strengthen the community and be patient while the transition of filling in those gaps are occurring. 6, my 8 years have taught me just about every person or group wants the same thing: safe drinking water, air, soil to grow food, that sustains our life for generations to come. Great schools and access to those great schools, as well as a place to call home, to make meals, to tuck our littles in, wake up in the morning and contribute to our community. We are more alike than any of our differences, despite the noise that can sometimes deafen that truth. Please remain open to those commonalities. 5, counting to 10, 20, 30 works wonders, as well as taking a day or two before responding to emails. Responding with kindness, curiosity, conscientiousness, integrity, and ethics to create bridges and build the pillars of the community. 4, speaking of pillars, Broomfield staff. Partnership with the council creates an unstoppable team. I consider staff as the underdogs and unsung heroes of this amazing city and county of Broomfield. This one's a little long, but there are so many people here that I have to thank. I know I won't name them all, so please forgive me. From Public Works, who have been providing clean drinking water and sustainability before sustainability was a thing, to providing light and power at the parks during business hours, so that some of our unhoused would continue to work their way out of homelessness, fixing potholes within 12 to 24 hours and plowing our streets in the winter and cleaning them for the rest of the year, and so much more. Parks and Rec, to open space, Pete, Kristen, Clay, Broomfield is a better place because of you and your teams. We are healthy for a reason. Your dedication to our physical well-being, as well as preserving the land and securing the space to ensure that people are healthy, and for reminding our residents that wildlife and people can really coexist. Thank you for your dedication. It is beautiful to witness. I hope we continue to keep our wildlife during these next phases of build out. To the Broomfield Police, thank you for digging deep, remaining curious, and listening to residents during a very tumultuous time in history. Thank you for knowing that this time has always been about Black and blue and every color in between. Thank you for recognizing that it was never the binary choice, one or the other. Thank you for taking the time to better understand how we can create a more inclusive and safe environment for everyone. Your willingness to put your lives at risk every day so we feel safe is extraordinary. Thank you for your service, your partnership, and willingness to change to provide a sense of safety for all. To the library, public art, cultural council, you continue to provide the pulse points of our heart and soul. You provide beauty and thought-provoking work that challenges paradigms and brings a way for crucial conversations to occur. You are truly an asset to this community and everyone you partner with. Thank you. Sustainability and strategic initiatives, you are rock stars and have no idea how grateful I am that you are in full bloom. I hope you continue to receive the nourishment you need to grow us into endless sustainability. Public health, my goodness, public health. Over the last 8 years, the work that you have done for our community is nothing short of miraculous. Everything we do involves our health, and without our health, we can't enjoy anything else. You have all remained diligent in your efforts on oil and gas, to breaking and one day eradicating the stigma of mental illness, to providing insights and wisdom surrounding vaping, as well as legalization of marijuana, and I'm sure other plants soon to follow. COVID has tested each and every one of us in new ways, has created a new baseline of stress that has created momentary lapses of reason, but not you. Your eyes were always fixed on getting Broomfield in a better space, be it physically, emotionally, socially, and mentally, and all the social determinants of health. We are blessed that you are dedicated to keeping us healthy. The work you are doing never ceases to amaze me, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. Workforce, human services, self-sufficiency, talk about soul of the city and county, the partnerships and the work you do to keep those who may have lost hope in providing a stairway or a trail as a guide is inspiring. The work you do with the most vulnerable and most often very misunderstood populations of people. Your ability to bring light and resources to those that have been underserved and overlooked is awe-inspiring. So thank you for never blaming the people, but for your continuous efforts to resolve and evolve a system that includes all. The city clerk's office, thank you for your transparency and your dedication to creating access to all voters, to all motor vehicle owners, you are a gift to this community. We have one of the highest voting rates in the state, and that is because of the work you do and the care you provide to the people, voters. To the front desk staff who have a smile and a friendly hello to everyone who walks into the building. My hat is off to you. You truly are the faces of Broomfield and the legs that help this entire city and county run. Human resources for your efforts, your patience, your ability to pivot and transform your department into what it is today, creating pay equity and opportunities for rewarding and fulfilling days. Fabulous to observe. To budget and finance, oh my God, your hands are full. We are grateful for your hearts and minds are filled with the desire to create the most transparency that Broomfield has ever seen with regard to our ever-growing budget. Your task is big, but your brains and hearts are bigger, and I know you will continue to rise. To IT, I can't even begin to count the number of times you've helped me make jelly out of the jams I've been in. Your conscientiousness and willingness to go above and beyond has helped me be a better council person. Thank you 1,000 times over. You are all lifesavers. Our legal team, oh my, your expertise, your relentlessness, dedication to protecting the health and safety of our community is like the sun capturing the most vivid and beautiful colors of the autumnal leaves. A shout out for not backing down, for not giving up, for truly leading the way in the state, and just about everything you are involved in. To housing, economic development, planning, wow. Thank you for always being there, for creating a kaleidoscope of opportunities so that we remain limitless and well sought after, for endless pursuits toward excellence and housing for all. You have created a new paradigm with which to view housing. To the communications team, you have grown, adapted, shifted, and continue to create platforms for more transparency and voices to be heard. You are a gift to this community. Communication is key in every relationship. Your work has grown, and the paths you've provided to our residents has increased accessibility in this community. Through accounting, inspections, code compliance, and all the other teams and individuals that I have not been able to say thank you for caring and showing up and for doing your work and for bringing the best every day. To the city manager's office, the relentless streams of emails gushing in from every council member, the fact that you have 11 different elected officials to both answer to and grow with. Thank you. Your efforts, your long hours, your service with a smile and transparency, as well as your willingness to continue to go above and beyond has been spectacular to witness. Your efforts to create ward integrity and provide the best quality of life for everyone is great. Diversity is the spice of life. I know that the best policies are the ones that get co-created when individuals take the time to get out of their echo chambers and come from a place of curiosity and wonder. The most glorious generative moments are created, moments that would never have had the opportunity to be born. And that is how great achievements are forged. 2, teamwork and collaboration are the keys to a productive term. The mayor is only as good as the council, and the council is only as good as their mayor. 1, friends, residents, and family. To the residents of this incredible city and county, thank you for trusting me, for voting for me, and for sharing your voices. I love you. and will now return to my role prior to being on council and continue to give you all to this incredible city and county in a different capacity. I look forward to my next chapter and wish everyone here listening to find ways to come together and be the chorus that provides the different voices and melodies that harmony. We need the sopranos, altos, tenors, basses, and baritones. We need you all. To my friends, thank you for respecting my boundaries while on council and for supporting me and loving me and for standing in the space of courage when I may not have had enough to do this on my own. Thank you for coming. You have all made me a better person. Me, Teresa, Robin, Judy, Neil, Lois. I would never have won this election. In such a turnaround time, I had 5 weeks to knock on every door, and guess what? We knocked on every door. Thank you. You had to take me under your wings. And if Robin wouldn't have said, oh, honey, oh, honey, let's get you set up so you can win. So great. To my family. Thank you for all of your love and support and sacrifice. I could not have done this without you. You are my heroes. And while we have experienced some casualties along the way, we will rise like we always do. My daughter was 5 and my son 9 when I was first elected. They knocked on doors with me and cheered me on when my feet were tired. When I looked into their eyes, I saw the reflection of hope of a better future representing families like us that have forgotten. The missing middle is a large and disproportionately forgotten population. Please continue to remember us. My son is now graduating high school, getting ready for his big adventure, and my daughter is finding herself in her voice and reasons to be. I'm so proud of you. And I hope you can forgive me for being away from home so many nights. I love you. To my husband, Josh, I love you more than you will ever know. The meaning behind 3 powerful words generate more energy than I can ever quantify. Thank you for your unyielding support and encouragement and for being the rock with every step of the way. And thank you to Mom and Dad, if you're listening, and brothers who without our adversities, I would never have been who I am today. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon, for those very thoughtful and emotional remarks. So does any member of council have any comments for Councilmember Tessier? So Mayor Castro.
Sharon, you are a testament to persistence and perseverance. I know when you first started this journey that housing equity probably wasn't really part of the conversation. And now I have 2 words, housing authority. 2 more words, inclusionary housing. And you helped realize this dream that we can now work toward achieving housing equity. And you advocated for the underserved in our communities, just like I will. And I'm going to miss you. Just want you to know that. And I'm so grateful for having this time with you these past 4 years. So my ear's still here. And if you ever see anything we need to work on, just let us know. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Lindstedt.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. You know, a lot of people might say that politics or government doesn't work or doesn't get, lead to anything good. But your 8 years on council led to a lot of good. We sit next to each other, and whether we're trying to deal with drainage issues in Skystone or sidewalks and first filing or issues at the mall, we did it together over these last 2 years, and you've made just such an impact on Ward 2 and on the entire community. because of your relentless advocacy and your courage to move forward on housing. 8 years before it was a huge topic of conversation. I think you can take credit and say that you've helped house thousands of people who have been impacted by your work, literally thousands, because of your work on this council as a public servant. So just take that to heart, because it's a tremendous accomplishment, and so many people are going to have such better lives because of your work and dedication. So it's been an honor to serve up here with you. I feel like I'm going to lose a whole lot of wisdom sitting here with my desk mates are leaving, but you're going to be really, really missed, and you have a whole lot to be proud of. So it's just been such a privilege to sit up here with you, and I wish you and your family the best.
Thank you. Councilmember Lynn.
Yes, I'm sure that most of the public knows of your vision for housing, but what I've shared with you is your vision for sustainability. And I really appreciate that. And I know how much the entire advisory committee on sustainability basis appreciates the vision that you set forward and how you got the group started. So now, as we come forward shortly with some goals and programs that the council has to consider, we'll remember you, and thank you again for your vision. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Lim. Councilmember Hinkle.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Hi. I didn't think it was going to be emotional. This is the inner child of me. Okay, this is the inner child who is the unseen, unannounced. This is the child who experienced sleeping in bathtubs. This is the child that is thankful for someone like you and your leadership. And even though I served, at a church, we talked about affordable housing. Before I knew you, before I even knew what AMI was, I had no clue. I knew that your vision for housing was so important. And when I became introduced to you, and we knew that at Discovery Church that this had to be a grassroots effort, this also had to be a partnership with the city and county. You helped plant a seed for something that people didn't know they knew at the time, some people, and a lot of people who knew what they needed at the time as well. And so you spoke loudly for those who didn't have a voice, who didn't have access to what we have here tonight. And so for that, I really appreciate you. You've always had a sense of when we vote on things, I've noticed that you ask, where is the power? Who has the power in this situation? I've also noticed too, are we being brave enough? That's something that a lot of people don't think about. They're more worried about the politics. Are we more worried about being brave or not? And from you, I'm claiming that. And so as I step into a lot of the housing roles as you lead, it's an honor to be working with you. And I've been working with you at Fish this past week too, in housing people who are most vulnerable in our society, in our Broomfield. Ultimately, I just really value the fact that you've mothered a lot of us. And I really appreciate you.
Thank you. Councilmember Sheff.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So one of the first times that I got to know Sharon was we went to a housing meeting down in Denver. And this was in preparation for some of the state legislation that would be coming out. And I quickly got to know that Sharon is a BFD, a big freaking deal. And I mean, people were coming up to me and they were like, "Oh, Sharon?" I was like, "Yeah, Sharon. She's pretty cool." And since then, I have just gotten the honor to get to know you further. And serving on the ACES committee. Well, it wasn't the ACES committee then, but on our public art program, and it's just been an honor. I want to say thank you, and I meant to do this with both Councilmember Broom and Councilmember Lobbins. Thank you to your family for their support and their sacrifice, and thank you to all of our support and those that are sacrificing while we serve. So a big thank you. Sharon is fierce. Sharon's a fierce advocate. She's a fierce ally. She's a fierce friend and colleague. You've challenged me and you've made me stronger. And just as I did in those early days, I look forward to telling many people why, yes, I do know Sharon Tessier.
Thank you, Councilmember Chef. Any additional comments? Well, Sharon, as I was sitting here, my first thoughts were, I am glad that I have 2 more years to follow those closing remarks. That is going to be tough to beat. So yeah, 6 years have gone by way too fast. I was thinking this afternoon, I remember, it feels like it was yesterday that we were having drinks over at the Blackhawk Brewery, probably talking about some oil and gas issues. I just don't know where the time has gone. I mean, it's just, as you mentioned, it's gone by in a blink. I've always admired as you've heard, your zealous advocacy for the underprivileged and those without a voice in our community. Your legacy, is going to live on with your work and with the creation of our housing authority, as well as with our ACES group as well. Definitely going to miss your unique inputs on all the tough issues. Drinks at the Wonderland or whatever local brewery, and of course your point of view. So thank you again for your service. Going to be missed up here. And as a token of our appreciation, I do believe we have a gift for you as well.
A car?
Thank you again. We do appreciate all you have accomplished over the past 8 years on City Council.
You've got to come over and share some.
So we will now begin with part 2 of our ceremony today. This is going to be the swearing-in ceremony. We're going to begin with swearing in Broomfield's newly elected and re-elected officials. After you are sworn in, you may return or take your seat at the dais for the first time with the rest of City Council. Each newly elected and re-elected council member will take the oath of office individually at the podium. The Honorable Amy Bachman, presiding municipal court judge, will preside. We will start with Councilmember Cohen. Will you please step to the podium?
Okay, where do you read it now? Raise your hand. Repeat after me. I, Todd Cohen,
I, Todd Cohen,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution,
I will support the Constitution,
the laws of the United States and the state of Colorado,
the laws of the United States and the state of Colorado,
and the charter and ordinances of the city and county of Broomfield,
and the charter and ordinances of the city and county of Broomfield.
and that I will faithfully perform the duties of the office of city council member,
I will faithfully execute
perform the duties
of the office of city council,
to which I have been appointed.
to which I have been appointed.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's give you this one as well.
We're live.
Shout out to left-handers.
Congratulations, Council Cohen. Please take or retake your seat at the dais. Next, you will swear in Dr. Bruce Leslie. Due to commitments made prior to the election, Dr. Leslie is joining us virtually. Jake, will you please make sure Dr. Leslie is visible on the screen, and I believe he is. We will now proceed with the oath.
Right, good afternoon, Dr. Leslie. All right, so go ahead and raise your right hand for me, please. I want to make sure that we can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Okay, perfect. If you'll repeat after me. I, Bruce Leslie,
I, Bruce Leslie,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution,
that I will support the Constitution,
the laws of the United States and the state of Colorado,
laws of the United States and the state of Colorado,
and the charter and ordinances of the city and county of Broomfield,
the charter and ordinances of the city and county of Broomfield,
and that I will faithfully perform the duties of the office of city council member,
will faithfully perform the duties of city council member of the city of Broomfield,
to which I have been appointed.
which I have been appointed.
Congratulations, sir.
Congratulations, Councilmember Leslie, and we look forward to having you join us up here on the dais in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Now I ask Mr. Marsh Holsham, will you please step up to the podium?
Perfect. I love it. All right. Are you ready for this? Yeah. I, James Marsh Colson,
I, James Morrison,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution,
that I will support the Constitution,
the laws of the United States and the state of Colorado,
the laws of the United States and the state of Colorado,
and the charter and ordinances of the city and county of Broomfield,
the charter and ordinances of the city and county of Broomfield,
and that I will faithfully perform
and I faithfully perform
the duties of the office of city council member,
the duties of office of city council member,
to which I have been
to
appointed.
which I have been.
Congratulations, Councilmember Marsh Holsham.
One moment. And this is yours to take.
Congratulations.
Congratulations again. Please take your seat aside. Councilmember Chef, will you please step to the podium?
Signature like that one day? Nah, pretty fancy. That's a lot. I, Devin Shaw,
I, Devin Shaw,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution,
that I will support the Constitution,
the laws of the United States and the state of
the
Colorado,
laws of the United States and the state of Colorado,
and the charter and ordinances of the city and county of Broomfield,
and the charter and ordinances of the city and county of Broomfield,
and that I will faithfully perform
and I will faithfully perform
the duties of the office of city council member,
the duties of city council member,
to which I have been appointed.
to which I have been appointed.
Congratulations.
Councilmember Chefs, have you retake your seat up at the dais? I'm going to ask Mr. Ward, will you please step up to the podium?
And one more time.
your right hand, repeat after me. I, Austin Ward,
I, Austin Ward,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution,
that I will support the Constitution,
the laws of the United States and the state of Colorado,
the laws of the United States and the state of Colorado,
and the charter and ordinances of the city and county of Broomfield,
charter and ordinances of the city and county of Broomfield,
and that I will faithfully perform
that I will faithfully perform
the duties of the office of city council member,
the duties of the office of city council member,
to which I have been appointed.
to which I have been appointed.
Councilmember Ward, we ask that you please take your seat up here at the dais. Finish with Mayor Castriata. Will you please step up to the podium?
I, Guyleen Castriata,
I, Guyleen Castriata,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution,
that I will support the Constitution,
the laws of the United States and the state of Colorado,
the laws of the United States and the state of Colorado,
and the charter and ordinances of the city and county of Broomfield,
and the charter and the ordinances of the city and county of Broomfield,
and that I will faithfully perform
and that I will faithfully perform
the duties of the office of mayor,
the duties of the office of mayor,
to which I have been appointed.
to which I have been appointed.
Congratulations, Mayor Castriata. I will now pass the chair back to you.
I need to find my place. That was a lot of stuff. Here we are. And thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, and thank you, Judge Bachman. Congratulations, and welcome to the first meeting of the new Broomfield City Council. With us this evening is Pastor Scott Mcnally. Scott is the lead pastor for the Lutheran Church of Hope. His organization also is the lead for the Anchor House and has volunteered his time on the Broomfield Chamber Leadership Committee. Additionally, he has a passion for service and building better teams. Pastor Mcnally has graciously agreed to provide the invocation for us this evening.
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor and members of City Council. As a fellow Broomfielder who has called this place home and my place of work, it's an honor to be with you and share these few words with you. Words that I share that I certainly cannot take credit for, as I have been influenced, formed, and shaped by those who I have learned from and mentored. I will be honest, in my personal experience in world leadership today is hard. It's selfless, challenging, exhilarating, exhausting all at the same time. Thank you for stepping out and answering the call to be a leader. I speak these words to you in gratitude for the work that you all are embarking on. So here you are, the elected leaders of the city and county of Broomfield. You are Broomfield's leaders, leaders of those who voted for you and leaders of those who didn't vote for you. You have been elected to lead all of Broomfield into the adventure ahead. When adventurers Lewis and Clark arrived at the Rocky Mountains, they realized that the canoes that they had taken from the east to the base of the foothills would not get them over the Rocky Mountains. They developed relationships with the indigenous people who dwelled on these lands and foothills, and learning from them, they learned that the best chance to accomplish their mission wasn't going to be by canoes. Now, they were not perfect by any means, and in many ways that we shall and rightfully always acknowledge today. But we cannot ignore, however, their ingenuity as they built relationships and learned and adapted, and were willing to try new ways and means to accomplish the mission to which they were sent. In the end, they soon traded their canoes for wagons and horses to get them over the Rocky Mountains. Tonight, we are not far, relatively speaking, from where those canoes were traded for horses and wagons. Like Lewis and Clark, we are in unprecedented times and in uncharted territories, and we are seeking a passageway into the future of Broomfield. That is no secret to any of us in this room. The question is for us, and for you as our elected leaders, is how will you lead in these unprecedented times and uncharted places? How will you lead when the canoes that have gotten us this far may not get us into the next adventure? This evening, I invite you to consider, as you begin your work together, to be resilient leaders who lead with nerve and heart, embracing adventure and imagination. I wonder what it would be like if we could listen to another's point of view without defending our own position. I wonder what it would be like if we could listen to each other without jumping in to try to convince them otherwise if we disagree. Can we actually hear without jumping to explanation? Can we listen to each other and our citizens with gratitude for their point of view and really hear them without brushing them off as soon as the first words that we disagree with are spoken? Leading with nerve is being able to stay present in the moment and not getting anxious when the temperature and the pressure of that moment rises. Leading with nerve is being present in the room amongst varied opinions, options, and impassioned beliefs. Leading with nerve is staying cool, calm, self-differentiated, and self-regulated enough in your convictions not to get entangled in the anxiousness of the moment. There will be and should be spirited debates, different ideas explored, and factual opinions expressed, and they may be different than our own. And we have the nerve as leaders to stay present and hear them. I once challenged my congregation, pretty much a mere Broomfield, some on both sides of the political spectrum and a bunch in the middle, to take an hour of a news program they may differ from their viewpoint or lens through which they look at life. And to see in that in 1 hour, they could listen for an actual nugget of truth or fact without jumping immediately to defense or convincing that said news program is wrong. Needless to say, I got a lot of looks, a bunch of emails, a few phone calls, and folks who had some hot words for the preacher. Yet in the following weeks, those who dared to take the challenge discovered the exercise wasn't about the facts themselves, but rather listening to someone who differs from they do and actually hear them for what they are saying. They learned that with some imagination and adventure, a fruitful, meaningful dialogue could ensue. Now, they didn't start watching that program faithfully, but a willingness was gained to listen without jumping to defend or convince. I wonder if we have the nerve to listen and hear and stay there. Leading with heart is having the confidence in one's own convictions and groundings to lead an adventure, reframing the task at hand. Working through problems and challenges, only seeking new answers to old questions is safe. And let's face it, it's easier for us because it leads us in familiar territory. But when we see our challenges as adventures, opens us opportunities for curiosity and imagination that can break the treadmill of imaginative gridlock and push us through the fear of loss of familiarity. Yes, adventure entails risk of the unknown and perhaps failure and mistakes. Name me one explorer, adventurer, or great leader of the past or present who didn't risk or experience failure or mistakes for the sake of the entity they were leading. Adventure opens our conversation and dialogue as leaders, as a city and county, to endless possibilities if we are willing to lean into curiosity and imagination of all involved. To accomplish this takes nerve to hear and heart to imagine, and it's not easy. Andrew Zolli, in his book on resilience, writes that resilience is the ability to maintain its core purpose and integrity in the face of dramatically changing circumstances. Broomfield needs resilient leaders. Leaders willing to lead with nerve and heart. Leaders ready to engage in listening conversations, hearing conversations, and then to adventure into curiosity and imagination, keeping their core purpose and integrity as elected leaders of the city and county amidst the anxious moments that arise in the course of your work. It's not easy work, and it will take all of you knowing yourselves and bringing your whole self each and every time to the table to do your work on behalf of all of us who call Broomfield home. In the word of James Collins in his timeless book, Good to Great, leaders will only do well when the organization or entity they serve does well. When Broomfield does well, you do well. I wonder if we can move that way as leaders. I wonder if we can find ourselves on an adventure without canoes, horses, or wagons, but with our nerves and our hearts, passionate for this city and county and willing to listen and hear, explore, and imagine opportunities we face as adventurers. It will be risky. There will be anxious times and moments. Do we have the nerve to stay in those moments? To listen, to hear, to offer gratitude, and to imaginatively explore how we do this thing we call Broomfield together. And if we can lead that, well, then Broomfield will be beyond good. It'll be great. We in this room and who are watching, and the residents and citizens of this city are pulling for you. We are cheering you on as you lead us into our next adventure. Thank you for letting me share just a few words with you this evening as you begin your work.
Thank you very much, Pastor Mcnally, for being with us this evening and for those amazingly inspiring words. At this time, we're going to take a break for a short reception so that the council members, friends, family, residents, and staff may visit with the council and enjoy some refreshments and appetizers. We didn't eat dinner before we proceed with the business before the council this evening. So we'll reconvene the council meeting in about 30 minutes. Thanks, guys.
The Access Live event is in music hold. music hold ended.
The city council meeting is called to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Anderson. Here. Cohen.
Here.
Hinkle. Here. Mazursky.
Here.
Leslie.
Here.
Lamb. Here. Lindstedt.
Here.
Marsh Holston.
Here.
Schaff.
Here.
Ward.
Present.
The quorum is present. The first order of business for the council this evening is the selection of a mayor pro tem. Section 4.5 of Broomfield's Home Rule Charter provides that the council shall, at its first meeting following each regular municipal election, and after the newly elected members take office, elect one of its members to serve as mayor pro tem for a term expiring at the first council meeting following each regular election. The mayor pro tem shall be selected by a majority of the council members present at said meeting and may be removed by a majority of the entire council. The mayor pro tem shall preside at meetings of the council in the absence of the mayor. The mayor pro tem shall have all the powers, rights, and privileges of a council member. The mayor pro tem shall have no tie-breaking vote nor power of veto, but shall have all the other powers and duties of the mayor in their absence. In accordance with council's procedures and rules of order, any member of the council may make a nomination, and nominations do not require a second. If there is more than one nominee, council will vote on the nominees until one candidate receives a majority vote. Ms. Rogers, do you have any further clarification you would like to provide regarding procedures for our selection of a new mayor pro tem this evening?
No, Madam Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. Does any member of council have any questions regarding the election procedures? Seeing none, now that we've walked through the process, are there any nominations? Councilmember Schaaf.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to nominate Stan Jezierski.
Are there any other nominations? All right, seeing none, should we vote as, by acclamation?
Mayor, since we do have Councilmember Leslie remote by our rules, it needs to be a roll call vote.
Sounds great. Okay, so we have Councilmember Stan Jezierski nominated as mayor pro tem. Will the clerk please call the roll if you're in favor?
Anderson.
Yes.
Cohen.
Yes.
Hinkle.
Yes.
Mazursky.
Do we get to vote on this? Yes.
Leslie.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Lindstedt.
Absolutely.
Marsh Holston.
Yes.
Schaff.
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Thank you. Congratulations, Mayor Pro Tem Jezierski.
And a privilege again to be able to continue in this role. I do appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you. Next is council's review and approval of this evening's agenda. Council may add or remove items from the consent agenda, or council may revise the order of business for the meeting. Does any member of the council have any comments or questions regarding this evening's agenda? Right. Are there any objections to the agenda being approved? Seeing none, this agenda is approved. This evening, we have one item under petitions and communications, a proclamation declaring November 27th as Small Business Saturday. Will the representatives here to accept the proclamation please come and meet Mayor Pro Tem at the podium? Will the representative please introduce yourself?
So I'm Jeff Schreier. I'm the Business Development Lead with the Economic Vitality Department. We just have a few words to say for the board on it.
We're going to let the clerk please read the proclamation first, and we will give you some opportunities to comment. Thank you.
Proclamation declaring November 27th, 2021 as Small Business Saturday. Whereas the city and county of Broomfield celebrates our local small businesses and the contributions they make to our local economy. And whereas small businesses need the community support in order to navigate, retool, and pivot from the effects of the coronavirus pandemic. And whereas while Small Business Saturday is endorsed by a number of public and private entities, like Small Business Administration, public and customer awareness is about 70% nationally and varies in each community. And whereas Small Business Saturday is a critical day for many small businesses, as in increases awareness of local shopping and dining options, and it accounted for nearly $20 billion in spending on Small Business Saturday last year. And whereas the United States Small Business Administration notes that most respondents to the 2020 survey said shopping at small, independently owned businesses supports their commitment to making purchases that have a positive social, economic, and environmental impact. And whereas small business online shopping increased as a share of Small Business Saturday activity, but shopping in person is still a critical activity for the success of many local businesses. And whereas the city and county of Broomfield wishes to encourage all residents to support our local businesses that create jobs, boost our local economy, and make our community the thriving place we enjoy.
Thank you. Comments from the public are next. We'll start with in-person public comment. And if there's anyone who would like to be heard, please come to the podium and state your name and neighborhood for the record. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Sam Taylor. I'm the president and the CEO of the Broomfield Chamber of Commerce. Before I use up my 3 minutes on this, I want to say congratulations to all of you that are elected and re-elected. I look forward to working with you in the next 2 years or 4 years, depending on what your term is. Small Business Saturday has been around a long time. It was started by American Express, I believe, many years ago. Small businesses aren't just important, they are the lifeblood of our economy. When you shop at a local small business, you are not only supporting that person in your community, they are supporting your neighbor, they're supporting your schools, they're supporting the community at large. Every dollar you spend in Broomfield and in the surrounding area with a local business will generate an additional $3 of economic benefit. Now, it is very convenient to go online and buy some things. I do it myself. But when you hear so much about supply line issues right now, go to your local businesses. Go to your small companies. Go to Moncton Guitars. Look for something in the music industry. Go to one of these small businesses. Get a gift card to give, so somebody can, when there's a better supply chain, they can get what they're doing. Get flowers from Bouquet Boutique. Go to one of our local restaurants. We have so many local restaurants, and we just had another one open up yesterday here in Broomfield, and let me tell you, they're wonderful. So yes, not only shop local on Small Business Saturday, but make it every day that you're here. Always look for a small business first before you go and click send online. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Any other public comments? Then we'll go back to our representative for your remarks.
Sam did a wonderful job of explaining the importance of Small Business Saturday. I think what I'd like to bring up is that a perfect complement to Small Business Saturday is a program that we're partnering with the Chamber on, which is our Broomfield Believes campaign. We're doing a bingo campaign, a game that allows the community and the businesses to really learn about one another and to discover one another. I think it's pretty easy for residents and shoppers to sometimes overlook businesses. And so there's a great way to get them matched up and get people out in the community. That'll be starting on Small Business Saturday, which is November 27th, and it'll run through January 14th. And we're really hoping for some good turnout. People in the community will be able to learn about the local businesses that are here.
Mr. Schreier, can you tell everyone in the audience as well as council where they can find more information about the Broomfield Believes?
Yes, we'll have more information about this on the website under the Economic Vitality Department's tab. It'll be under Broomfield Believes page. Residents will be able to get name cards on the website or at participating businesses, and we'll have a list of those participating businesses on the website.
Thank you. Comments and questions from council are next. Are there any council member questions or comments? Seeing none, thank you very much for being with us this evening.
Thank you.
We're proud of our small businesses and especially their resiliency over the past few years as we've navigated the pandemic together. It's always a good reminder. We'll move to public comment next. This is an opportunity for the public to comment on matters other than the items already listed on this evening's agenda. We'll start with in-person public comment. If there's anyone who'd like to be heard, please come to the podium, state your name and neighborhood for the record, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Hello, Lizzie Lario, Wildgrass subdivision. Good evening, Madam Mayor and new council. Congratulations, and staff as well. I'm here tonight. I have a few questions and I wanted to make a comment on the fire that happened on the Northwest A pad. It actually happened a week ago today. And I was surprised when I found out it happened on Tuesday because there was a council meeting Tuesday evening with an oil and gas agenda item, but nothing was mentioned about that. I think it's something very important for the public to know whether the operator or the COGCC or whomever classifies a fire on an oil and gas site as a minor incident. The public should know. I don't even know if all of council knew about it. Yeah, so that is my thoughts, that the public should know, all of council should know. And a city council meeting on the day it happened seems like a great place to talk about it. I'm also wondering why it hasn't been made more public. The only place I found it is the oil and gas dashboard. I know many residents don't even know about that or know where to find it. We see smoke, we see dust, we see emissions coming from these pads frequently, and we wonder if it's a fire. It was. The cause wasn't determined, which means it could be repeated. We're actually quite lucky that nothing else ignited and it didn't become a bigger incident. The Stromberger Fire started with a space heater in the winter time. This was an air filter. Why are they using air filters? I don't know. We don't have that answer. Corrective action has been implemented to remove used air filters immediately after replacement. Additionally, communication with personnel about site practices on location are being discussed. I don't really know what that means. That's very, very, very vague and does not make me feel any better. Again, why are they using them and why are they being careless with them? To some, this line of questioning may seem silly and unnecessary. When you live by these paths, this line of questioning is necessary because it's scary. Like I said, we are seeing things from these paths all the time. So it's not silly and it's absolutely necessary. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lario. Any other public comment? I don't see any online. Council's community and event updates are next. Does any member of council have an update this evening? Councilmember Hinkle.
Thank you, Mayor Castriata. I just wanted to take the time tonight, a few of you guys have been introduced to a young lady from Prospect Ridge Academy. Her name is Angelina Hill. They have a program there where they do mentorships with city council members or however they want to, perform their mentorship for their capstone. So Angelina Hill, would you mind standing up for us? This is Angelina. So when you guys meet her, please introduce yourself. Angelina Hill is a senior at Prospect Ridge Academy. She's doing this mentorship to learn about city and county government and how it intersects with her interests in politics, law, and social services. She intends on going to college to study political science or psychology and potentially going on to law school, which I have been a huge advocate for. We need more women in law. Personally, she has lived in Broomfield for 14 years and she enjoys playing volleyball, reading, and writing, and she's excited to be shadowing here for the next few months. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Councilmember Hinkle. Any other council member updates? Event? Oh, just wait, your calendar's gonna fill up. Council's consideration of the consent agenda is next. Following the clerk's reading of consent agenda items 7A and 7B, we will ask for public comment. Will the clerk please read agenda items 7A and 7B by title?
Resolution number 2021-194, authorizing the city and county of Broomfield to become a participating entity in the Jefferson County Public Safety Fiber Optic Network. 7B, resolution number 2021-196, approving the proposed boards and commissions recruitment plan for 2022.
Thank you. We'll now proceed with public comments. Does any member of the public have comments on these agenda items? Seeing none. Does any member of council have any questions on these agenda items? Councilmember Marshall.
Thank you, Mayor. I apologize if I'm just getting up to speed. But my other question is on the Jefferson County Public Safety Fiber Optic Network. It states in the memo that each participating entity will appoint a representative. Is that going to be one of us council members as a representative, or is that going to be a staff member?
I'm going to let Ms. Abeda, our IT director, I just made that up, answer your question.
Hi, I'm Terry Abeda, IT Director for Broomfield. I apologize. Could you repeat your question?
Yes, sorry. It states in the memo that each entity will have a representative appointed to sit on this operating committee. Will that be required to be one of us council members, or it will be a member of staff?
It will be a member of staff. Yes.
Councilmember Lim?
On 7A again, on the network, it says in the summary of the memo that there's no anticipated financial commitment for Broomfield to become a member. But then on page 5, it says a fee may be requested, and it gives some conditions that if the member doesn't want to contribute the fee, that the member could be asked to leave or something. So is there consideration, I guess, by staff that this is something that's worth the fee that may be required in the future? I mean, we're agreeing to something without a fee, but it looks like there could be in the future. So is it worth it?
I believe so. Councilmember Lim, thank you for your question. The benefit of us joining this network, we'll be able to participate in the wide network that's already being built and that's already in the ground now. And as we build our fiber backbone, we might find opportunities where we can plug into that. A couple of areas we're looking at now is along 120th to the Adams County Health and Human Services building. Our current court building could benefit from a direct connection there. There's also a connection over by the RTD station by Arista. So we're also looking at that and plugging into our backbone at that point when we get to that part of the build out. I have been speaking with the Jefferson County authority that's leading this effort, and it would be a vote, or not, I don't know if it's a vote, but there would be a discussion among the members that are serving in the on the board there, that whether or not a fee would come down. And so there is not one now. It's being funded out of Jefferson County. So I don't anticipate there being a fee anytime soon. But it would be worth it for us to participate along with the other municipalities that are currently in the group.
Councilmember Lim, it's not unlike, excuse me, any of the other regional cooperation pieces that whether it's the public safety, which this is the backbone for. So when they say fees, it's not a membership fee. It's a nominal fee as we move forward, particularly for administration. We want to make sure that when we participate that we're paying our fair share, particularly if there are items that they prioritize or want to work on with Broomfield.
Okay, thank you for answering that. Any other council member questions? Is there a motion that the recommendations contained in the staff reports for agenda items 7A and 7B be approved? Councilmember Marshall.
Moved.
May I have a second? Councilmember Ward,
Second.
is there any discussion? Councilmember Leslie, I can't see if you have your hand up, so just holler. With Councilmember Leslie joining us remotely, we will use a roll call vote. Will the clerk please roll call the roll?
Cohen,
Yes.
Hinkle,
Yes.
Jezerski,
Yes.
Leslie,
Yes.
Lim,
Yes.
Lindstedt,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Chef,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Thank you. That passes unanimously. There is no business before the Board of Social Services, the Board of Health, or the Broomfield Housing Authority this evening. The only item under council business this evening is council's consideration of proposed resolution number 2021-202, rescheduling certain meetings for the council in 2022. Council has a copy of the agenda memorandum, which I'll ask our staff to summarize.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council. Congratulations. Danae Brouillard will walk us through this item.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, and Council. As Jennifer said, congratulations. It's nice to see all of you up there and seated after working with you for the past couple of days with orientation. This is the big item of the night, so I think it will just take a few minutes, so we'll kind of walk through it briefly. The last few weeks have been crazy, and it's a little hard to believe we're already planning out 2022, but we're trying to get ahead of the schedule for both you and your planning as well as for your residents. The charter requires that council meet at least twice per month, and the rule said that that happens on Tuesdays and Thursdays, or Tuesdays on the second and fourth Tuesday of the month.
You're surprised, it's a little extra meeting on
You didn't catch that in orientation? Come on. Also, council's rules and procedures allow us to have study sessions. Those can come at the request of the mayor, council, or the city manager. But typically we do those on the third Tuesday. So a month looks as council meetings on the second and fourth Tuesday, a study session on the third Tuesday. And for all of you that are returning, you know that we held many more meetings than that in the past year. So what we have provided for council tonight is a proposal for the 2022 schedule. Again, we can add meetings, but going in with a strong plan to stick to that second and fourth Tuesday for council meetings and the third Tuesday for study sessions. So I'm not going to walk through the entire calendar. You all have it for reference, but just will highlight the changes that staff is recommending. So the first one is in March. We recommend rescheduling the March 15th study session to March 1st to accommodate the spring break of Holy Family High School, and rescheduling the March 22nd meeting to March 29th to accommodate the other school districts, including Boulder Valley, Adams 12, and Jefferson County. And for the new council members, that's traditional practice in March. We do normally shift those meetings to accommodate the spring breaks of the school districts. The next ones we propose are in November, which is rescheduling the November 8th meeting to November 1st due to the election, and rescheduling the November 22nd meeting to November 29th due to the Thanksgiving holiday. And then December, which we're coming into this month now, which will be a treat. We have 2 meetings this year, and we're looking at the same schedule for next year. So we would like to cancel the December 20th study session due to the holiday and reschedule the December 27th meeting to December 6th due to the Christmas holiday. So that's the recommendation of staff, and that's what's outlined in Resolution 2021-202. There is an opportunity if you would like to add other meetings. Tonight would be a good night to let us know and we can modify the resolution. Otherwise, that concludes the staff report.
Thank you, Danae. We'll now proceed with public comments. Does any member of the public have any comments on this agenda item? Not seeing any. Questions from council are next. Members should limit themselves to questions during this portion. Any council member questions on the proposal of the agenda? Councilmember Shea.
Thank you, Mayor. So I just wanted to clarify a couple things. So March 2020, we would have the 2 meetings on the 1st and the 29th, but on the middle of 3 weeks, there would be no meetings. Is that correct?
So for March 2022, you would have a meeting on the 1st, the 8th, and the 22nd. No, the 29th, you're correct. So the 8th, the 15th, and 20th, yes,
Okay.
would be off for those 2 spring breaks and then moving the study session, correct?
Okay. All right. Thanks. And then my other question is for December 2022. So can you just go over which dates would be the council meetings on that month?
Yes. Let's see, let me just make sure I have it right before I answer. The meeting would be on December 6th and December 13th. The 20th and the 27th would be canceled.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much.
Same as we did this year. Yep.
Appreciate it.
Councilmember Lim.
I had a question, I guess, first for staff and then a consideration for council members. If we were to consider adding extra COVID reports or an oil and gas report on a monthly basis to a council agenda, would that fit, do you think, within the current framework of the 2 council meetings per month, that we could add that on? I'm not one to think that we want to add council meetings on the agenda right away. We did enough of that on the spur of the moment, and that'll surely happen again. But I just wondered if, given the situation with COVID, we might have to have another report in a month. Or I would like to propose that we would add on a monthly basis an oil and gas report to a council meeting agenda.
Today, I'm going to take the shot at the first one. Councilmember Lynn, we appreciate the question. Actually, the mayor had given us a heads up at the orientation today. And it's council's choice. Excuse me. On those 2 meetings, we build in an hour for council comments for every meeting. And part of the conversation today with the mayor, if once a month we do the oil and gas updates, that would be in lieu of the bi-monthly meeting. So we would essentially be transitioning from the bi-weekly oil and gas meetings back to a council meeting, which is where we were before, essentially, before we broke that off. The mayor had indicated that there would be, upon council decision and direction, a timeframe with which the oil and gas would be added to that agenda item. So again, it's less of a staff choice and more of accommodating from a council direction on those items as we move forward. I can tell you that from a staff perspective, having it once a month instead of the bi-monthly meetings would be welcomed. And quite frankly, the same with COVID. Excuse me. And so for the new council members, we have bi-monthly every other week, oil and gas meetings that run about an hour and a half. It's staff intensive. There's probably 7 of us from staff that are on that call. So between the prep time, the preparation, the distribution, and then the follow-up, that's not to say that it's going to be an hour and a half additional per council meeting, although it may very well be, and then you all will have to determine, in addition to what those items that looks like. COVID is the same. We've pulled COVID out, so Jason comes to council and to the community with updates on COVID after having a Monday briefing where it's a deeper conversation, and then it's an executive summary that is provided at those council meetings. So we're working on the assumption that both of those would be removed and added back to the council agendas.
That sounds wonderful. Are there any more you want to add on that? Are there any objections to us moving these meetings back to Tuesday nights when all members can participate? Awesome, let's do it. Thank you.
And we are happy to make that happen on an right now basis.
Tomorrow we still have that one on Wednesday.
We will.
Okay.
Why don't we say effective December 1st?
Love it.
That gives everybody the opportunity to kind of gear up for it and make that transition, as well as communicate with the public that we're going to be shifting both of those.
Sounds great. Thank you, City and County Manager Hoffman. Any other council member questions on the calendar? Well done, Ms. Bouillard. Thank you very much. So next is council's consideration of proposed resolution number 2021-202. Will the clerk please read proposed resolution number 2021-202 by title?
Resolution number 2021-202, rescheduling certain regularly scheduled meetings of the City Council for 2022.
Thank you. Is there a motion? Councilmember Shaq?
Thank you, Mayor. I move that resolution number 2021-202 be adopted.
Is there a second? Councilmember Hinkle? Second. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Lindsay?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, just real quickly, in that March meetings there, since we're taking the 15th off for the National League of Cities invite, I just wanted to update what that is to some of the new council members who might not know. I had the opportunity of going with former Mayor Quinn right when I got elected in 2019, and we haven't really done it since then because of the pandemic. But if you are trying to schedule out your time, I highly recommend you take time off work if you're interested in doing that. To go, I'm taking vacation time this year, but it's really fun. You get to go and meet your congressional representation in Washington. Former Mayor Quinn and I met with former Senator Gardner and Senator Bennett and Congressman Goose. And then there were a lot of day trainings of a whole variety of events. So if you're thinking about your schedule for early next year, I highly encourage you to look at that one. And I'm sure the NACO one is just as good. I just haven't been to that one. So I just wanted to highlight that as you guys are trying to figure out your schedules. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up. It's a study session, so we don't need a quorum. Somebody's got to run the study session. Well, I don't know. Do we need to have a study session?
Generally, in the past, we've had a quorum. So the business continues. If we had, if we didn't have a quorum and a lot of the city council wanted to go, we would certainly look at just reallocating those items that would be set for that time.
Excellent. Is that all?
Yeah, I would just highly encourage people to think about going and if we have to move it, we should move it. But it was a really worthwhile trip last time for Mayor Quinn. So yeah, just something to keep in mind as we move forward.
So this is how quick staff is. Ready?
Yeah.
We've already moved it to March 1st to accommodate that. So we do not have, we have a meeting on March 1st. I don't have my readers.
The study session.
Yes, so we have the study session on March 1st. We have no meeting for the next 3 Tuesdays, which includes And to Councilmember Lindstedt's point, why they do it this way, but it's a lobbying trip, it's a legislative trip. But it's back to back, and so NACO goes for 4 or 5 days, and then there's a break, and then NLC goes. So it's a 10-day kind of legislative crazy train, if you will, in DC for both the cities and the counties. So in other words, any council member that wanted to go, you wouldn't be missing a meeting.
Awesome. Mayor Pro Tem?
We have to have 2 meetings in a month, right? So the meetings will be the 1st and the 29th. And then there'll be no study session in March?
It says March 8th, we're having boards and commissions appointments, so that's gotta be a meeting.
First, the 8th and the 29th.
Oh, the 1st, 8th, and 29th?
Okay. So we're off the 5th, the week of the 15th and the 22nd. Okay. The colors might be off. Because we moved things. Does that make sense? Any other council member comment? All right. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Hinkle,
Yes.
Jazerski,
Yes.
Leslie,
Yes.
Lim,
Yes.
Lindstedt,
Yes.
Marsh Holscher,
Yes.
Schaff,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Cohen.
Yes.
Thank you. That passes unanimously. The city and county attorney's report is next. Ms. Rogers, do you have a report?
I do not, Madam Mayor, except to say congratulations, and I look forward to working with all of you. It's good to see you all on the dais, and you too, Councilmember Leslie.
Thank you. The city and county manager's report is next. Ms. Hoffman, do you have a report?
I do not, and ditto.
Thank you. There is no legislative update this evening and no items before the Broomfield Urban Renewal Authority or the Arista Local Improvement District Board of Directors. This evening, we'll hear an update on the semi-annual performance and internal audit. Council has a copy of the agenda memorandum, which I'll ask our staff to summarize.
Thank you. Last item, council members, Bernie Block, our internal auditor and our process improvement guru, will walk us through this item. Mr. Block.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council members. Congratulations on your appointment. As Jennifer mentioned, I'm Bernie Block, Director of Performance and Internal Audit, here to provide you with an update on the activities I've been working on since we last met in December of 2020. I'll just quickly give an overview of how I approach the work for the internal audit function. I conduct a risk assessment each year, usually around December, January. It's usually feedback from the department heads about changes in their environment, any challenges they may be having. Pay attention to local media on any audit-related topics, and then other local governments audits of interest. From that, we'll compile a list of potential projects, and then we'll apply a priority ranking in consultation with the city manager's office and the city county attorney. We'll develop the annual project plan, which is attachment 1 in your packet. That is, it's fluid. It does change throughout the year depending on the priorities. We'll sometimes shift gears for that. In 2020, like many staff members, spent a lot of time working on COVID response and recovery efforts, and some of that's trickled over into 2021 as well, assisting finance and public health on the FEMA grant reimbursement, and then also assisting with some of the research and planning related to the American Rescue Plan Act. Also helped onboard the new grants administrator and emergency manager. The performance audits that I conduct are done in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards, governmental auditing standards. They focus on program effectiveness, results, internal controls, and compliance related matters. And, from the performance audits that are conducted, I do follow-ups on those generally every 6 months, some on a quarterly basis. And attachment 2 to your packet is the status update listing, which provides a summary of all audit findings, recommendations, and the status of issued audits that are open or recently implemented items. The audits that have been completed this year are the cash receipts and body worn cameras. In progress is leave benefits administration. It's currently the report's being reviewed, and then I'm also working with the Departments of Human Services and Public Health Environment, their operations division. I should also mention we did a cybersecurity audit as well this year. Special projects, they're more narrowly focused. We looked at the court services cash receipts. It was out of scope of the earlier cash receipts because there was a system implementation in place at the time. And business process improvements. Those are usually opportunities for operational efficiencies, working with process owners. Work with the police department on an administrative support workload analysis, and currently working with finance and the city and county attorney's office on an update to the HIPAA plan. I try to serve as a resource for any questions in the organization related to internal controls, and also try to participate in professional development. In 2020, we had the innovation ecosystem, which was received very well by staff that participated in it. Due to COVID, we took a pause, but we're looking to do a refresh of that, hopefully get that going again in 2022. So that was a quick overview of how I spent my time. I know there's a lot of content in the attachments, so rather than kind of walk through all that with you, I'll just open it up to any questions, and I welcome any feedback you have related to the internal audit.
Thank you, Mr. Black. We'll now proceed with public comments. Does any member of the public have comments on this agenda item? Not seeing any online. So questions from council are next. Are there any questions from council members? The voluminous document, so you can always follow up if you didn't get a chance to go through it.
Mayor, if I may, when you look at those, when you look at the documents, the progress that has been made since October 2019 is really, really remarkable. Hats off to Bernie, and not only Bernie, but again, the efficiencies that have been put in place from the cross collaboration teams really does allow us to get a tremendous amount of work done quickly because of the structure of those pillars. And everybody sees Bernie coming in and they get their act together.
The staff really should take credit for implementing those.
Absolutely. So again, it's 4 pages of in an 18-month process. So when you look at that, tremendous amount of work over the last year and a half, Bernie. So thank you.
Well, I'm very anybody else? I'm excited that you are doing the cybersecurity audit, because we all hear about those breaches going on everywhere. So good to know that that's on the radar and being done.
Mayor, with that cybersecurity audit, Ms. Abeda really from that entire IT team, the focus has been swift. And I know that 2 years doesn't sound like it equates to swift, but in the cybersecurity world, we were one of the few local governments that have been unscathed from any type of even minor phishing incident. So it really does create, from the cybersecurity perspective, not only from an internal audit, but it has a lot to do with finance as well, because that's where the breaches are primarily. We've heard and seen a lot of our neighboring communities that have been up to $1 million on those phishing incidents. And again, so the 2-party authentication, particularly for the new council members that are coming in, when you have our devices, if you're not accustomed to it, jumping through some of those firewall hoops initially can be kind of a pain in the butt, but there is reason and rhyme why we do what we do.
Thank you. Councilmember Sharon?
Thank you, Mayor. So, when we had been doing the orientation these last 2 days for the council members, and I was going to say new council members, but there were many of us on there that weren't new council members. I mentioned to a lot of your colleagues that Bernie Block would be coming in front of council. And a lot of your colleagues think very highly of you. So I wanted to pass that praise on to you. This is such important work. And when I look through here, one of the things that strikes me is a lot of the high priority and maybe even some of the medium categories have to do a lot with finance. And so, I know that we've had some turnover there. And so to our city manager, do we have the resources, do we have the people in place to address a lot of these deficiencies? I don't know if deficiencies is the right word, but the areas of need. And do we have what it takes to address some of these items?
We do, and we will. Interestingly enough, Councilmember Shaftburn and I were just having that conversation. For those high touch areas, shoring up, and again, the transition between where we have been and where we are going, it was less of that golden key approach, which is one person knew one particular avenue and area. So we are continuing to transition to where it is a larger group of individuals that are aware, so that we don't get into that lock and key. Bernie's helped us with that. So we have the resources. It's difficult to hire finance people right now. We haven't experienced that in any of our other areas, to be honest with you. I know that if HR was here, they would be saying contrary to that. But that's, it's a tough area. Are we concerned? No. We would be concerned if we didn't have a plan in place for the backup in order to get us from point A to point B. Resources are available. We just got to have bodies in there in order to make it happen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council member questions? All right, well, thank you very much for this update, Mr. Block.
Bernie's also leading, Councilmember Schaff, I can't believe he didn't say this when we were giving him his kudos, but the mayor's wife made Clay promise to find practice space on an as soon as possible basis, because that last year will be the last year that we are beat on the softball field from the seniors. Mayor Pro Tem Giuseppe, I don't
care for beat, I just don't want to be beat that badly.
That's the thing, just give him a game, right? Yes. So Bernie will be joining us once again on the field, so.
We'll get to see how competitive this new council is. Love it. Well, there are no requests for future action this evening, concluding our agenda, but I just want to take a moment to thank all of our staff members for the last 2 days and all of the planning and preparation to put together a very robust onboarding process for our new and returning council members. So thank you so much. It meant the world to me, and I know that our new council is feeling very welcome and better equipped to do their jobs. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, putting all that together for us. Is there any other business to come before council? There being no further business, this is an early night, don't get used to it. The council meeting is adjourned.